All right, welcome back everyone to another edition of Talk 122. I am your Superintendent Dr. Terrell Yarbrough. This is going to be our final episode of the season, our summer edition. Really get excited about this one, as I do the other ones as well. But we're going into the summer, so that's even more exciting. So with me, I'm going to have we have a parent on today, which again I'm excited about, and she's going to talk a little bit about Parker Center and her experience and her child's experience with Parker Center. But what led me to getting to know her a little bit is HCC hosted a superintendent coffee chat, or really coffee chat series, and I was the guest on there, and and just being there and getting to meet you and the conversation that we had resonated with me, and to the point where I have to get you on. So I'm glad that you accepted the invitation. And so can you tell the guests, who you are and a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name is Olivia Carstens, and I born and raised in Rockford.
Okay.
My husband graduated from Harlem.
All right.
Did all of his schooling. I think with an exception of 1 year where they moved and then moved back.
Okay.
But
shout out to your husband.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing against Rockford, but he graduated from Harlem. That's good.
Yep, definitely. And we've had nothing. We've got one son. He'll be 4. July 31st.
Okay.
And we have had. I've been nothing but so beyond the expectations with Harlem. So I'm very excited to kind of talk about that, because I know I joked that I kind of turn it into a TED Talk where I'll talk at anybody who will listen. So having an invitation for somebody who wants to hear it is awesome, because their program and everybody at Parker Center is amazing.
Okay.
And I would love for a semi-official giving them their flowers, because they deserve it, because love early childhood education, and they've gone above and beyond. So.
Perfect. Well, thank you for that.
Absolutely.
And that intro. And so when we were talking at the coffee chat a little bit, and I was embarrassed because you said that you had sent me an email, and I was like, I don't remember it. And so I would like to publicly apologize for for missing that email. And so I went back. The good thing about keeping emails is they never go away unless you delete them. And so I went back, did a search, and boom, lo and behold, it came up. And a lot of what you were saying at the coffee chat was in the email, that you shared with me. And so I was floored with all of the positivity, and your experience. And so can we start a little bit there, right? Yeah. And so you mentioned giving flowers, right? And so there was one specific teacher that you mentioned, obviously the principal, Mrs. Anderson as well. But let's give them a little bit of their flowers.
Yeah.
So
I actually, 2 of my friends were enrolled in their, I know they call it Baby Talk or the Birth Through 3 initiative, which is absolutely amazing, because it kind of it's full circle, especially with CTE. So you have the foundation for, and it says Birth Through 3. So parents can sign up when they're pregnant, and then as soon as the baby's born. I'm not sure if it's standard or if it depends on the child's needs or how it's determined, but our parent educator was Carrie Colvin.
Okay.
Angel. They're all amazing.
Awesome.
Just Carrie was ours, and absolutely love it. But so she would come twice a month, and they bring age-appropriate activities for the kids. And so our son was always super excited, because Miss Carey's coming, and there's always something fun. And so they'll do that. And it's also nice because then it's more... you can Google, is it normal that my 18-month-old is doing, X, Y, or Z? But if you have somebody who's, invested in your child, and they know them personally, and then they get to know your family dynamic, too, because they're really great about scheduling. But, we would always try to make it so that my husband was there, too. So they kind of, they get to know the whole family.
That's awesome.
And you can kind of just bounce ideas off of them. And, being able to have somebody who knows your child is great. Because, again, you could, go to the pediatrician, and pediatricians are great. And that's their area of expertise. But they don't know, yes, it's twice a month, but there's a lot of intimacy on you're in the home and
Right,
like you're seeing the dynamic. And it was great to have like, oh, we're kind of, this is like the new hurdle or like parenting struggle, and getting that validation. And it's as much, I think, as everybody talks about, oh, it takes a village to raise a child.
Right.
It's also a lot of like, I think their official title is parent educator, and that part of it is definitely there. Like the support for the parents too, which I think is like, obviously the kids need it, and that's great. But I think a huge part of what's missing a lot of times is the parent support. So they do a phenomenal job at that.
Awesome.
It never fit in with our schedule, but they also host a play group weekly, and then they'll do.
That's interesting. So if
Yeah.
that was because I've been to one of those,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so it's pretty cool. Cool.
Yeah, and it ended up, our son was in early intervention as well, so we had like other services that we were doing, so between nap and juggling all those. But I know my friend she has an older son, and then her daughter is still in the program, and they religiously go, and she absolutely loves it. And then the field trips, Discovery Center, Nicholas Conservatory, so we got to see the butterflies.
Right.
We did that. There's a couple others that we weren't able to go to, but just a ton of activities for the families and the kids. Our son loved it, so it was awesome. And the parent educators are there too, so it's super exciting because we get to go to the Discovery Center, and Miss Carey is going to be there. Like, he was on board immediately, so there was no having to like coax him out to go do that. So
Absolutely. And I'm glad, obviously with the experience that you had, and obviously making it's a family affair,
definitely.
right? And so when you think of your child and the activities that he was looking forward to, like which one like stands out to you, like that was done?
Well, I mean, he loved
it could be a couple.
home visits,
Right.
But he absolutely loved going to the Discovery Center, which we realized that he absolutely loved that. That was the big one that especially. But honestly, like if I told him that we were going to like Target and Miss Carey would be there.
Okay.
Like we could go anywhere. Like if Miss Carey's there, like he'll be there.
Okay.
And that was one of the biggest things too, because the transition to preschool or to school in general is probably pretty hard for kids.
Yeah.
Our son's very shy and has a lot of also has a speech disorder. So there was a lot of confidence there that when he communicates, again, shout out to the staff, because everybody there, has like, his language has exploded. He has grown in confidence because of that. Like, cannot say enough about everybody at Parker. But he didn't have, like, I stayed home with him, so he didn't have the daycare experience. So going every day for a chunk of time that wasn't with my husband or I was something completely foreign, especially not being in the house. So Miss Carey, as long as she didn't have a morning visit, I texted her because a lot of drop-offs were like very rough, and she would walk him in, and
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, and so didn't expect to get like teary-eyed, but that's
okay.
She's amazing. But I think for every family too, because they hosted a tour of Parker.
Okay.
So as the kids are transitioning out of the program, their home visitors would schedule times to be able to go see a classroom at Parker. So not only can you say like, oh, somebody who's going to be there, but we were able to, oh, do you remember when we were that's your school, and Miss Carey was there, and that's going to be maybe not your classroom, but it'll be close.
Okay.
So that transition's amazing too, because it's just that extra support. And so I think that it probably might make the not painless, but as much as they can help, they do, and it would have been a very rough experience without all of that. Okay. So,
well, that definitely makes me feel good and warm my heart, because we have these initiatives and things that that any district, but specifically Harlem, we want to be doing well,
Yeah,
and to hear that it's working and our families are taking advantage of it and enjoying it is definitely warms the heart. And so like when we talked, and here's where we're going to have a little fun and transition a little bit. We talked about you can do a promo, right? Like you do a promo. So how about 15 seconds? What would you want to share if you were doing a promo on the program?
Oh, I'm a yapper, so I could come up with something, but 15 seconds.
Let's do it. Okay. What you got?
Let's see. I think adding somebody to your village, right?
Okay.
Like they're there for your kids, they're there for you,
Okay.
and to kind of get a foundation for that foundation, because that's, if I am not mistaken, I think when you're in the program, as soon as you turn 3, it sort of saves you a spot at Parker Center.
Okay. I don't know that, but I need to now do
Should
some
have
research
Googled.
on that.
Let's cut that if that's not right.
Hey, I should know that. We're gonna figure
No,
that
but
out.
that is, so you get the foundation for the foundation, right? Because again, I don't want to do a whole TED talk about early childhood education, but that is a very holds a soft place in my heart. And so the 15-second would be like, add a professional to your village who cares about you, they care about your kids, and it makes Parker Center feel like home from the day that you drop your kid off, I think.
Okay.
So that would be
And if
mine.
Miss Carey was watching this, what would you say to her? Okay. All right.
I love Miss Carey so much. Everybody needs a Miss Carey, and Christy too. So Miss Christy does the intake. I think that she is sort of the supervisor, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And when I reached out, she reached back out and she did our intake, and I have been like, hey, do you guys need any help? What do you guys need? So that's amazing, and I know that everybody that works there and everybody at Parker Center. And
So you're like a super parent. Like you're like, I want to help out. This is awesome. Okay, so we're gonna definitely use this. So this is the point in the conversation where I usually ask the guests, who's your favorite person in the district? But I don't even have to guess. I mean, Miss Carey came up.
It's I will say though, it's hard because there's Miss Carey and then Miss Patrice, who is also a speech language pathologist at Parker Center.
Okay.
We love Miss Patrice. And Miss Lori, the school social worker, who much respect to all the social workers, but particularly Miss Lori.
Awesome. And in case this particular person watches this later as well, who's your favorite Harlem graduate?
Definitely my husband, for sure.
Had to set that up, tee it up,
Yeah.
boom, there you go.
Perfect.
All right. Well, thank you for being on.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it. Anytime that, again, that we can find out that something that we have is so impactful, particularly to our families and to our students, I definitely want to spotlight that. So
Absolutely.
appreciate
And
you
hopefully
doing that.
other school districts can, because I think that would be amazing. But
Absolutely. Well, thank you for your
awesome.
time.
Thanks so much.
Welcome back to part 2 of our summer edition of the final podcast for the year. We have our second guest, and I'm really excited to have her on specifically to talk about summer programming at, and I won't give away, I want you to explain your role and everything, but just summer programming that our students can take advantage of in our area. And so without further ado, if you can introduce yourself to the audience, your name, what you do, and we'll go from there.
Sure. My name is Shannon Scheffel, and I have been the CEO of Harlem Community Center for 23 years now. In July, it'll be 23 years.
Okay.
So it feels like a lifetime. It's been a wonderful lifetime.
That is awesome. So there's probably quite a few kids who are now adults who have interacted with you, throughout their time at HCC, and because you've had basketball programs, and my daughter, for example, played softball, during one of the summers, and so 'cause I can imagine that a lot of kids know you. So.
The amount of people that step foot in HCC really kind of amazes me sometimes, and I find it a little overwhelming, the numbers of people, because they'll come up and they'll talk about their history with HCC or their family's history, and those are great stories to be a part of, but I can't remember a lot of them.
So you have that experience that I have sometimes where I'm at like Walmart or Target, and a former student comes up and like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'm like,
I know
"Hi."
that face.
I know the face, right? Absolutely, absolutely. So, but we still remember him though, even if we
Yes, we
kind of
do.
forget the name sometimes. And so, in thinking about that though, with the programming, talk a little bit about what opportunities our kids have, at HCC, specifically in the summer.
HCC has changed a lot over the last 20 years, but in some ways it's stayed the same.
Okay.
Its focus has always been about safe, fun family activities. And so as long as I've been there, HCC's been busy in the summer with baseball programs and softball programs. We've had summer camp. In the past, we've done neighborhood park programs. Those
Okay.
are one things that have gone away, but the other programs are still there.
Okay.
In the summertime, our Kids Fun Club does a summer camp, and that's a really popular program.
Okay.
We do it every day of the week from 6:15 in the morning until 5:45 at night, and so it's really helpful for parents who are working to get their children someplace safe. We do a lot of fun activities with the kids. We go on at least 3 field trips a week.
Okay. Wow. That's awesome.
And we feed them. We give them breakfast, lunch, and a snack. And
Okay.
so that's another plus for, kids who sometimes may struggle with food at home or may struggle with making their own food at home. That way their parents are sure that they're eating during the day. And
Okay. No,
Just
that's
tons of fun things.
Outstanding. So for the parents that tune in for this episode, how can they get involved? Like, is it a website? Do they go on the your page? Like, how can they find out about the programs?
we do most of our advertising for our programs through our Facebook page.
Okay.
So Harlem Community Center Facebook page is where you'll find almost everything. Our website is harlemcommunitycenter.org.
Okay.
And we also put our programs and our activities up on the website.
Okay. No, that's good. And so can you talk a little bit about, because HCC, the building has changed, right, from how it used to be? Because I remember I started in the district in 2009, and I would drive, by and almost miss the building. You're right. But now when you drive by, there's a sign and all that good stuff. And so tell us a little bit about, the new building at HCC and what kind of went a little bit into making that a reality.
Well, the old building had been there since 1957,
Wow.
so it was definitely used and
That was before my time. Yeah. Okay.
very much loved.
Yeah.
It had done its due
Yeah.
and needed some upgrades. And so we were very fortunate to be one of a few recipients in the state to receive an early childhood construction grant from the state of Illinois.
Okay.
It was an $8.9 million grant. Yay.
That's awesome.
So we used that money to build the child care center, some of our offices, a gymnasium, the kitchen, some outdoor play areas, and then we leveraged those dollars to take out a loan so that HCC could expand for the future.
Okay.
And so we used our loan money to create a second gymnasium room for our school-age programming. So we have 2 classrooms for before school and after school programming, which we're
Okay.
excited to restart again. And then for an adult day center, which is another program that we're really excited to be able to bring to the community.
Okay. No, thank you for that. And I didn't know it was that old of a building
Yeah.
beforehand, and the history behind that, and now all the work that you and your staff have done to obviously upgrade and bring even more programming and fun to the kids. And so with parents, and you mentioned the before and after school programming, what's the qualifications for that and getting involved in that, if they wanted their kid to attend the before after school program?
Really, we don't have a residency requirement
Okay.
for programs at Harlem Community Center.
Okay.
So we do have kids from all over the county who sign up and attend our programs. So if a parent works in the area, maybe as part of the Rockford School District, and they want to, like we have some parents who may bring their child here at their school,
Okay.
and then they end their workday with us.
Okay.
But their child still comes up here. And so you could be part of the Harlem School District and enroll in our program, or just in any of the other areas, as long as it works in your family's schedule.
Okay, and that's nice to know too, because when I think of, obviously, no pun intended, Harlem Community Center, right? Like being a part of the community. And so when you think of partnerships and doing things like that, what does that mean to you to be a partner within the community? What does that mean to you?
Well, I think it's a relationship that you build with one another, and it's a relationship that's built with trust with one another. But I think it's really important for us to not just go with the handy partners, right? It seems to make sense that Harlem Community Center would be partnered with the Harlem School District.
Right. Yep.
But there might
literally
be some...
in walking distance,
Exactly. I mean, I listen to the buses every day beep as they back into their parking spots.
Right? Gotcha.
But there may be, some like Concordia Early Learning Center. That might be somebody that we can partner with for the early learning programming. Some of the private schools in the area. There are other business partners in the community that you may not be thinking of as everyday partners, but they have skill, talent that they can bring to your organization or to the people that use your organization. So I think sometimes you just have to think outside the box, and through that developing a trust relationship, you find ways to partner with one another.
Absolutely, absolutely. And speaking of partnership, I really enjoyed, you had me, as one of your guests for the coffee chat, which I thought was really good for you to kind of start that. And although I wish I had more people there, it was fine. I at least had 3, which was great. And matter of fact, one of the parents that I met at the coffee chat was our guest before you.
Oh, how exciting.
And so that was cool. And so just having that being something that you're doing I'm really excited for, and seeing where that goes. Just being able to spotlight, different leaders and area community members to have that, and have the community have an opportunity to have that talk. I really appreciated that. And so the next time you have me on, maybe I'll have more guests that show up. And
we'll
so
shoot that goal to 6, maybe.
We'll do something like that. And so, yeah, absolutely. So I appreciate that. And so, the last person had on, I had her do like a 15-second promo, for one of our schools, and she was excited to talk about that. And so if you had to, in 15 seconds or less, HCC and do a promo on it, what would you say?
I would say that Harlem Community Center is a strong part of the parks community, where individuals can find something that appeals to them, whether it is a family activity, an activity for them, or just a place to, spend some time.
Sounds like you've done this before, because that was perfect.
Yay! You put me on the spot.
No, that was good, because you were not prepped for this, and that was pretty good. And so this is the part in the conversation where I kind of have a little fun too, and ask every guest, who's your favorite person in the district? It could be anyone. It can even be someone that's sitting here.
Well, I was going to have to say that if it's a current member of the district, it would be Jason, because he has gone above and beyond for Harlem Community Center more than anybody in the district probably knows.
That would be Jason Bloom.
That would be Jason
Jason
Bloom, yes.
There's a lot of Jasons in
There
the district.
probably are, but anybody that knows Jason Bloom would know that he is the type of person that will go above and beyond.
Okay. I'll put that on his evaluation. So
Thank you.
Okay, good.
And if I had to say historically, I would say either John Hurley or Nancy Flanagan, because they both were part of bringing me to here. They were on the board president when I was brought to Harlem Community Center.
That's awesome. The things that you learn every day. That's cool. Well, is there anything else you would like to share while you're here on the podcast about HCC or anything?
No, not that I can think of. I think Harlem Community Center is so much more than what people think that it is. It's not just, sports out at the complex. It's early childhood, it's senior programming, it's having people come in and have a cup of coffee. And so, I hope people take the time and learn what HCC is all about. And I really appreciate you having me on to talk about HCC.
No, thank you. And I loved how you ended it, because that was always my perception of HCC was just sports, and it's a lot more than just sports. And so I appreciate you saying that, and I appreciate you being on. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, everyone. Well, we had, in my opinion, another successful year of Talk 122, and we got hopefully some things planned for next year, that'll be a little bit more exciting as well. Because as you noticed, we changed locations this time, which was good, and added a little bit of different scenery. And so I appreciate the behind the scenes individuals who really go above and beyond to make this a special podcast. And so with saying that, have an outstanding summer. I am Harlem. You are Harlem. We are Harlem. Take care, everyone.